I got a call. Last night, and now I think I'm losing my mind, hey r/nosleep. I don't even know where to start with this. I'm typing this at 3 a.m., holed up in my bedroom with the door locked and every light in the house on. I haven't slept properly in days, and I'm starting to question what's real anymore. I need to get this off my chest, even if it's just to strangers on the internet. Maybe you guys can help me make sense of it or tell me I'm not crazy. It started a week ago. I was up late, scrolling through my phone when it rang. Unknown number, no caller ID. It was 1:47 a.m., which is weird enough because who calls that late? I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity got the better of me. I swiped to answer and said, "Hello?" There was a pause, just long enough to make my skin prickle. Then a voice, low, raspy, like they were trying to whisper but didn't quite manage it, said, "We're watching you." Click. They hung up. I sat there, staring at my phone, heart thudding. My first thought was that it was a prank. You know, some bored teenager messing around, or maybe a wrong number. I tried calling back, but it went straight to a generic voicemail. I blocked the number and went to bed, laughing it off. But I couldn't shake this uneasy feeling, like someone was standing just outside my window. The next day, things got weird. I live alone in a small apartment, and I'm kind of a neat freak, so I notice when stuff's out of place. When I got home from work, my coffee mug, the one I always leave in the sink, was on the counter. Not a big deal, right? I could have forgotten I moved it. But then I noticed my TV remote was on the couch instead of the coffee table, and one of my kitchen chairs was turned slightly, like someone had sat in it and didn't push it back in. I checked the doors and windows. Everything was locked, no signs of a break-in. I told myself I was being paranoid, but I double-checked the locks before bed. That night, I woke up to the sound of my living room light flickering. You know that faint buzz a bulb makes when it's about to die? It was like that, but louder, almost rhythmic. I grabbed my phone and crept out to check. The light was on, flickering like crazy, and then it just stopped. Went back to normal. I unplugged every lamp in the house and slept with a kitchen knife under my pillow. By day 3, I was jumpy as hell. I started noticing people watching me. Not blatantly, but subtle. A guy in a gray hoodie stood across the street from my apartment, staring at his phone. But every time I looked, he glanced up at me. I saw him twice in one day, which felt like too much of a coincidence. Then, at the grocery store, a woman in a red scarf kept showing up in the same aisles as me. She didn't have a cart or a basket, just wandered, always a few feet behind me. When I made eye contact, she smiled this tight, fake smile and walked away. I tried to brush it off, but the phone calls kept coming. Different numbers every time, always late at night. Sometimes it was just silence, heavy breathing, or static. Once a woman's voice whispered, "You can't hide." I stopped answering, but the calls didn't stop. My voicemail filled up with empty messages, just faint static and what sounded like distant voices murmuring something I couldn't make out. I started digging, trying to figure out if this was connected to me somehow. I'm not exactly a saint, but I don't have enemies. At least, I didn't think I did. I grew up in a small town, had a normal childhood, or so I thought. But as I racked my brain, I kept circling back to something I hadn't thought about in years. My mom. My mom died when I was 15, and I don't talk about it much. She was troubled. She'd have these episodes where she'd lock herself in her room for days, muttering about the Watchers and how they were coming for us. I was a kid, so I didn't understand. I thought she was just sick. My dad said it was schizophrenia, and after she passed, he refused to talk about her. I moved on, or at least I tried to. But now, with everything happening, I started wondering if there was more to it. I dug through some old boxes in my closet, stuff from my childhood I hadn't looked at in forever. I found a journal my mom kept, tucked inside a shoebox with some of her old jewelry. The entries were erratic, written in this frantic scrawl. She wrote about the Watchers a lot, how they followed her, how they knew her thoughts, how they were part of some group called The Circle. She mentioned a place too, an old factory on the edge of our hometown, abandoned since the 80s. She said it was where they met. I don't know why, but reading that made my stomach drop. I remembered her taking me there once when I was little, just sitting in the car outside the gates, staring at the building like she was waiting for something. I couldn't let it go. Yesterday, I drove 3 hours back to my hometown. The factory's still there, a crumbling brick monster surrounded by a rusted chain-link fence. It was getting dark, but I had to see it. I parked a ways off and walked up, my flashlight shaking in my hand. The air felt heavy, like the world was holding its breath. I found a gap in the fence and slipped through. Inside, it was a maze of broken machinery and graffiti-covered walls. But in the basement, I found something that made my blood run cold. A room with a circle of chairs, like someone had been holding meetings there. In the center was a table with candles, melted down to stubs, and papers covered in symbols I didn't recognize. One sheet had names, dozens of them, written in red ink. My mom's name was there, so was mine. I don't know how long I stood there, frozen. But then I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming from the hallway. I bolted, tripping over debris, scraping my hands as I scrambled back to the fence. I didn't look back until I was in my car, peeling out of there. When I glanced in the rearview mirror, I swear I saw someone standing at the edge of the lot, just a shadow in a hoodie. I haven't gone to the police. What would I even say? That I'm being stalked by a cult because my mom wrote about them in a journal? They'd lock me up in a psych ward. But I can't shake the feeling that I'm being hunted. My phone's been quiet for the last 24 hours, but that's almost worse, like they're done playing games. Here's the part that's screwing with my head the most. When I got home, I checked my voicemail again, just to see if I'd missed anything. There was a new message from an hour ago. It was my mom's voice. I swear to God it was her, clear as day, saying, "They're not what you think they are." She's been dead for 12 years. I don't know what's real anymore. Are they people? Something else? Am I losing it just like she did? I keep thinking about that factory, those names, her voice. I'm terrified to go to sleep. Terrified to leave my apartment. I don't know what they want, but I feel them watching me, even now. Has anyone else dealt with something like this? What do? I'm scared I'm running out of time.